Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jim and Frank's Thursday Throwdown!
Well, Jim, here we are again, another Thursday Throwdown.
I'm ready.
Good deal. This is special for me because it's a couple albums and a band that I really like. And we're going to this week talk about Black Sabbath. And let's go with their debut album and their second album, Paranoid, for a throwdown. What do you think?
Yeah, down.
Man, both came out in 1970. How do you do that?
Yeah. Weird, right? Early
Yeah.
and late in 1970. I was when I got to listening to Paranoid, I was like, wait, 1970?
Yeah.
This couldn't have been released in 1970.
All right. It's amazing. War Pigs and Paranoid are constantly played on the radio to this day. Well, I
Yeah,
think War Pigs has been in more movies than I can remember. You hear that all the time in these spy movies and different things. Um,
rightly so.
Iron Man,
Iron Man.
holy cow. Um, Rat Salad, which I think is funny because Van Halen, I think they were going to name themselves that for a little while.
Rat Salad.
Yeah.
I,
But
I remember reading that in an interview with Eddie Van Halen. He said, like, well, I wanted to call the band Rat Salad. He said, I was going through like a Black Sabbath phase at the
right.
time.
Pretty amazing that they later toured their first major tour with Black Sabbath.
Was with Black Sabbath.
Yeah. But that first album, and I had Paranoid first. I have to be. I think actually what happened was as a kid, my mother, who always fed my musical wishes, she bought me "They Sold Their Soul for Rock and Roll" on
Oh
one
yeah.
a Christmas, which I later found out they had nothing to do with. That was a an old manager and a record company that ripped them off. They didn't get any money off that
Oh
album.
my gosh.
Yeah, but that gave me the taste because that was a best of
That's the
album, a
best of, right?
double album. And from there, I went back and I, with my own money, bought Paranoid, and then later the original album, Black Sabbath. And for coming out in 1970, they sure sound good.
Yeah. Uh I was gosh, I'm blanking on the title of the song now. There's a song on Paranoid. It's got like some bongos going on. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hippie-ish.
Hand of Doom, probably, or
Yes, kind of
yeah,
little psychedelic. I was like,
right,
this is like a long ways from War Pigs.
right.
And
They
there's some hippy dippy stuff on that first record as well.
Well, when they were their original album or name, they were called Earth, and they were
Right.
still kind of a jazz rock band at the time.
Oh, interesting.
So some of that carried over.
Yeah.
Uh, but that first album, Black Sabbath, the song itself, that's such an ominous sounding with the church bell and the thunder and lightning and all that. Great song, and when I was in 19 whatever year, I 74, 75, that I first heard it, uh I would made the mistake of turning my light out in my bedroom, laying down on my bed and putting that album on
And
and
blowing your
jumping
mind.
up and turning the light on because it was scary, man. I tell you what.
Yeah. Creepy.
Yeah. The Wizard, what a fantastic song.
Yeah.
Love that tune. um Wicked World. You know, it's interesting now. The only single to come off that first album was a cover tune called Evil Woman. And it's not on most of I think, the American versions of the album.
Oh,
They
interesting.
left it off. And I have two versions of the record, and uh, Evil Woman is not on one of them. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know how they make decisions like that. How is it they release it as a single in one place and then they don't even put it on the album in the next?
Yeah,
Because you think if they're releasing it as a single, it'd be like the best song on the record.
right. It was the most radio friendly
They were
song.
radio friendly, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it.
right.
I don't know, bizarre. There's
Yeah.
no accounting for record companies.
Yeah. um,
We had
um,
listened to that record for the conspiracy podcast. That's the first time I had listened to it all the way through.
oh, the original Black Sabbath.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and it is there, like you say, this hippy dippy. Yeah, they did some psychedelic stuff in the form of hard rock, if you will. And I think the that album was recorded in like 6 or 7 days or something. It was
Yeah.
a hastily
Some
recorded.
extended jammage on that
Right.
record too.
Yeah. And again, when you give a band that and they're doing their first record, they're usually songs they've been playing live for a long time.
Yeah.
So they were very familiar with it. They went in there and knocked that out, and it's all good. But let's talk about Paranoid. Holy cow.
Let's.
I think, like I say, spill the beans way early. All in all, I think that's a better record. Um, just more glued together. The tunes seem to go well. I really enjoy it. Fairies wear boots. Holy cow. Just silly stuff, but yet at the same time, is this about a drug trip? What is this all about? And uh Ozzy's
Yeah.
voice was raw.
Agree. Agree. Even God, I can remember hearing it, on the radio, like as far back as high school, whatever, hearing Iron Man and just thinking, this is like a really goofy song. It's like
It was,
it
yeah,
was lyrically just a really weird song. But
Iron
when it comes
Man.
to that solo and it just kicks.
Yeah. The lyrics were very science fiction-ish
Yes.
and
And Fairies Wear Boots is a goofy
very
song.
goofy. Yeah. Um, but the song Paranoid, which was a last minute addition because they needed an extra 3 minutes to fill the record out,
A great song.
just shows you how amazing when you don't put too much thought into something, how well it can be. The band went out to lunch and Geezer wrote the lyrics while they were out. The band was out.
Another one. This is not nothing overly complicated about that song,
No, it's a great one for first
right?
young bands to learn how to play.
And I think it's basically 3, 4 chords, something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
One of the earliest songs I learned how to play.
Oh, very good, very good. Um, War Pigs is, like I said, one of those songs that it is just as poignant in 1970 as it is now in 2025. It it is a timeless tale of
Uh, yeah, with a lot of truth in it.
yeah.
And I listened to it again today, actually, and
Mhm.
it's like it's weird taking lyrically War Pigs
Right.
at one end of the record, and at the very other end of the record, you have Fairies Wear
Bears
Boots.
for boots, right? They really lightened it up.
It's like
Yeah.
it's weird how you get from point A to point B on this record because it's lyrically kind of all over the place.
Right.
Um, Electric Funeral.
Yeah. Now, that's another one. What I liked about a lot of their stuff, a lot of tempo changes,
Yes.
and in their songs weren't overly drawn out as far as difficult or anything, but yet when Bill Ward decides it's time to change tempo and he starts going a little faster, it just kicks into gear and it's amazing.
Um, I think he is highly underrated drummer.
Right.
When people talk about great drummers, they don't bring up Bill Ward.
Right.
Um, but he's a really, really good drummer.
Yeah. No, I think him and Geezer were locked tight
Yes.
for so many great records.
Yes. Yes.
Um, well, bottom line, do you have a preference? Is it the debut with, again, The Wizard and Black Sabbath and Wicked World, or is it Paranoid?
I'm going Paranoid.
Me too. Me too. It is for me just overall. It's a better
Think they
record.
got better between 1 and 2.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. And what about you out there watching and listening? Do you have a preference between Paranoid or the debut? Let us know in the comments,
Absolutely.
and we will see what we can do next time.
Absolutely.
All right.
Next week.
Next week.